Hey everyone, Noah here. Welcome back to another Python video. Today we're going to be going over for loops, but this time with dictionaries. So functionality, it's the exact same thing. The for loop's still going to run the same and whatnot, but it's just with dictionaries, we want to access them a little bit differently. And obviously we know that dictionaries hold a key and a value. So I'm just going to be showing how it works with that. So as always, have your idle open up. Go watch the first video in this playlist. If you don't know where I am, or what idle is, or how to download it, or how to use it, I have a whole video explaining what it is, how it works. So let's get started. So if you remember from last video, I'm going to try and teach this as different as I can. I can only teach it so different because it's really the same thing, but I'm going to try to give it like a different perspective just to kind of switch up how you're seeing it. So to start off, we have our syntax of our for loop. So we have to start off with for loop, and then we need some variable for the iterator. So this can really be any name that you want, but keep the rule of thumb with variables. Just keep it a letter or a word. But since it's the iterator, we'll call it I. And then another syntax thing is you need to have in. So for an iterator variable, which I called I, in, and now we need it in some dictionary for this video. So for the purpose of this, I have to make a dictionary. So if you remember, say D for dictionary, we use our squiggly brackets because I don't know the actual name of them. And we'll have our example from 2 videos ago. But how many videos we have of this stuff? So remember, our key value, the thing that's being named, has to be some sort of string value. Like you can have like 3 inside, as long as it's like really inside of a string. And then our actual value can be anything. So in Python, this is our list. So I have 10 videos up right now for Roblox. Lowercase that, just so I don't get confused later. Caleb has, I know he's more than me. Say he's about 15. Go check out his videos too if you're interested in Roblox Lua. He's got great tutorials and all of that. And then for Java, remember we're separated by commas here to show that's different stuff. So Java, and then our colon, and then now the value that we want. So then we have 0 videos, which we're going to be changing pretty soon. So now we can say for I in. So you remember from last video, we did something in range and length of something else. So that works specifically with lists, because lists, you want to go through a certain amount of times. But for dictionaries, the main reason why you go through dictionaries is to not repeat something a certain amount of times, because that's the point of for loops. So if we have a for loop that goes inside of this dictionary, it's going to repeat 1, 2, 3 times, because there's 3 key and value sets inside, as you can see separated by the commas. There's 2 commas, meaning there's 3 things in there. So for loops, we don't really care of being like, oh, I want this to repeat 3 times. Whereas with the list, we can be like, oh yeah, you just want this to repeat this many times. You could want to access the values, which I showed you how to do both. But mainly for dictionaries, you want to go directly right into the keys and values. So there's a few ways to do that. The simplest one is by simply calling the variable name that you gave it. So now we have for I and D. So what this does is the for loop's going to repeat through our dictionary. So by default, when we go through a dictionary, it's going to go through the key values. So if I say for I and D, and then if I print I, if we run this, it's going to print our key values. And you notice it prints 3 times in 3 separate lines. So for I and D, so it's going to print I, and then bam, ends that time. And then it's going to go I again. But now the I is in the next spot. And then it's going to print it, and that's all it's doing. And then bam, another spot. Now we're at Java. So that's cool. So we just got our key values. So what if we want to get our values? So we have our keys, but now I don't want to know what videos we're doing. I want to know how many of each that we have. So there's 2 ways to do it. There's one more a little ethical than the other. But one of the ways is we have D of I. So if you remember from our list video, if you put the name of our dictionary, which is D, and then we put what spot it's looking at. So in list, this would be the index. We're like, oh, spot 0, 1, 2. These are still index 0, 1, and 2, but now they're defined as key values. So it's Python, Roblox, Java. So when we say D of I, we're looking for dictionary, and then for our first iteration through, I is equal to Python. So D of I is 10. Think of it like a function, like f of x is y. Your x is your key value, and then what you're looking for is that y value. So you have D of I, so D of Python is 10, and then it does the next thing. Roblox 15, and then Java 0. The other way to get those values is by simply just calling dot values. Chances are you're not going to want to use this because normally when you go through a dictionary, you want both the keys and the values. So you're just going to mainly just call the name. But this gives you the same thing. So we can do it in dot values if you want. And instead of having to do the D of I stuff, now when we call the values, it's going directly to the values. Directly. You don't got to call it. But the only thing with this though is that we have no way to get back to the keys. This is why you don't really go inside of a dictionary looking for just values. You go through the keys and then you pull the values from there. Because like what if I needed Java now? Like just correlate 0 with Java. With the values thing, I have absolutely no way of doing that. Another way to go through is by simply setting keys, which is the exact same thing as just saying D. D and D.keys does the exact same thing. There's no difference. There's just a little bit of syntax. You can still call stuff the exact same. So I'm going to write another for loop just to kind of show you another example. But we'll have a new dictionary. I'll call it D1. We'll set it. We'll go back to our grades. We had math, and then our colon. Now we have to give it a value. I got a 97. This is what I said last video. I don't know what just happened. And then we have our English. I think I bombed that. I think we had like a 70. And then we'll have our science. Pretty sure we do pretty good at it. Cool. So same deal. So we have our key values, math, English, and science. And then we have our values, 97, 70, and 100. So take a second, write out the for loop, and then I'll meet up with you guys. This isn't going to be the quiz for today, but I just want you guys to get a chance just to write the for loop before I go through it. All you have to do is write the header. And the header is basically this line. So write the for loop that be able to get me through and get all these values. You don't have to write anything inside of it, just write the header. All right, let's get started. So obviously, we have our for. And now we need some iterator value. So I'm going to say for subject, because these are going to be subjects. So I'll just give it a fancy name. I could have called this anything, but I'll call it subject. So for subject in D1, and then our colon. So now subject is going to become math, then English, then science. And it's going to repeat 3 times. So everything that we have in here, so if I print subject, it's going to repeat as many times as there's stuff in here. So this doesn't all print out, if you notice, it's not printing the long way, or I guess technically it would be the wide way. It's printing the long way, meaning that it's going to do this, and then it's going to restart, and then do it again, and then restart, and do it again. So for loops, they only go as long as the things are in your dictionaries. So math, English, science. So we have 3 things. So we get 1, 2, and 3. So then if we wanted our grades, for examples, so then we can print our subject, And then we can print, if you remember, we call our dictionary name, we have our brackets, and then we have our iterator. So when we call the name of our dictionary, and then we have the brackets, and then inside we have this iterator value, now we can get the values correlated to our keys. So when we run this, we get math 97, English 70, and then science 100. And there you go. Those are for loops with dictionaries. As I said, they work the exact same as lists with for loops, except obviously they're a little bit different because you can go through different things. You get the key and values. It's not just a list where it's all values. So I'm gonna give you guys a little quiz as always to end off the video. So I'm gonna say make a dictionary with 4 key value pairs. And what I mean by that is this has 3 key value pairs. Math is 97, English 70, science 100. So make a dictionary with 4 key value pairs. Make them anything you want. Cool. So have a for loop go through the key values. Okay. And then print out the values. I literally called it a for loop. I just noticed that. So have a for loop go through the key values and then print out the actual values. So go ahead, take a minute, solve that, and I'll get back to you. All right. Let's see what you guys did. So first of all, we need to make a dictionary with 4 key value pairs. So I'll call D2. And I'm going to add stuff like this because why not? So D2 of, I'm going to say, let's do this. So if it's sunny outside, we'll say that it's 80 degrees. I just did that wrong. So sunny equal to 80. Okay. And then D2 of, if it's cloudy, we'll say that it's 60. And then D2, we'll say of rainy, say it's 40. And then D2 snowy, we'll say it's 20. So if you have a dictionary, and then if you put 4 values, key value pairs in there, you got this first part right. And remember, you could have done it this way, or you could have done it my way. Either or is fine. I was just going to mix it up, remind you guys that there's 2 ways to do it. Chances are you're probably doing it like this, because when you're making functions, you're not going to have a pre-made dictionary most of the time. You're going to be editing it inside of the function. So like this becomes a lot of handiwork for you guys. So now we need to have a for loop that goes through the key values. So we need a for, and then we're talking about weather. So let's call our iterator weather. So then in our D2, which is our dictionary with our 4 key value pairs. Okay, cool. So now we just need to print out the values. All right, so if we print, remember we have to call our dictionary name and then our iterator value. And just a reminder that this is the correct solution here. This prints out our values. And then this would just print out our keys. Because remember, weather is going through our keys. Sunny, cloudy, rainy, snowy. And then this looks for the specific spot inside of that. So think again of our function, f of x. Like our weathers are x, and then our f of x, you get your 80, 60, 40, 20. So I'm going to delete this because that's wrong. But if we run this, there we go. 80, 60, 40, 20. And that 100 is obviously from the science and math up there. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys in this video. Make sure to leave a comment, join the Discord if you're confused at all. I'll be sure to respond as fast as I can. I know for loops are confusing. It took me a week, as I said, to learn them and like to truly grab onto the concept of it. So don't feel discouraged if you're like, wow, man, I can't get this. This is not for me. I was in the exact same boat that you guys were. Trust me, I know. But it also helps a lot if you practice this on your own. So I keep saying, like, beat these things to death. Like everything that I go over in videos, just do like as many cases you can, make up your own functions, stuff like that. Just really get comfortable with using them so that simple tasks like these just become like light work. In the next video, I'm going to be going over else if statements. We know if and else, but else if is a little twist. It's not that bad. And then I believe in the video after that, I'm going to have a little odds and ends video where I kind of just touch on like little things, little gaps that I kind of missed. Nothing like crazy, just like little filler stuff that's useful for making functions. And then after that, I was planning on doing a complete review video. I'll have like 4 questions of like legit functions involving everything that we learn. See if you guys can solve them. So like, subscribe if you're interested. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.